The first couple of weeks of a new NHL season is always some of the most fun times of the NHL season because you have those surprising teams and surprising players that kind of come out of nowhere and have really hot starts. And while yes, that may not keep up for the entire year, it is still nice to recognize it while it is going on. So for today's video, I wanted to talk about 6 surprises from the 2019-20 NHL season so far. And again, it is still early and all this is obviously going to change over the year, but I thought it would still be a fun video to make while all these teams and players are still on a tear. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right into the video. Starting the video off with the Carolina Hurricanes, who are off to a very hot start to the year, and to most people, especially Canes fans, this probably isn't very surprising because they just made the conference finals and they made a lot of very good offseason moves, but a lot of teams in this Metro division really loaded up this offseason, and to me heading into the year, it was one of the most wide open divisions in the NHL, probably outside the Central, and I even saw a lot of people picking Carolina to drop out of the playoffs. In my standings predictions heading into the year, I believe I had Carolina finishing second in the Metro, but I didn't think they were going to be this good, and again, it is still early and they definitely could cool off, but right now they're looking like they could be a legit contender this year. They are 5-0-0, a perfect record, first in the Metro, and tied for first overall in the league with the Edmonton Oilers. Their last game was a 5-2 win against the New York Islanders, and their leading scorer offensively is Andrei Svechnikov. In 5 games played, he has a goal and 7 assists for 8 points, so it's nice to see him take a big offensive jump in his sophomore season, and maybe he can up that point total, which I believe last year was in like the 35 to 40 range. I think he finished with like 20 goals and 19 assists, and if he continues to play like this, I definitely don't see any reason why Svechnikov can't be like a 60-point guy there. And while guys like Sebastian Aho and Teravainen are off to a little bit of slow starts in terms of their standards compared to last year, it is really nice that a guy like Andrei Svechnikov is picking up the slack and the offense that they're leaving on the table, and guys like Ryan Dzingel and Erik Haula, who are some of the offseason additions that I think were really good for this Carolina team, and they're paying dividends. And then in net, James Reimer has actually been very impressive to me. Yes, Peter Mrazek has the 3-0 record, but in James Reimer's 2 games, he has a perfect 2-0 record, a 2.42 goals against, and a 940 save percentage, and I think his season so far has been highlighted by that amazing win against the Florida Panthers, his former team, where he stood on his head that game and really gave Carolina a chance to win, and Carolina gave him a lot of offensive support in that game as well. And again, I'm gonna say this numerous times throughout the video, it is still very early on in the year, but Carolina is looking like a team that definitely could be one of the best regular season teams in the league throughout the year, and a team that I probably wouldn't want to match up with in the postseason either. Next up, we have my favorite team, the Detroit Red Wings. I had to put them in this video because I really want to talk about their start to the year, and are they better than a lot of people thought heading into the year? Obviously, me being a Red Wings fan, I was very optimistic. I like the young offensive core that we have with guys like Mantha, Bertuzzi, and Larkin, and early on in the season, that has been one of the best lines in the entire NHL, combining for a lot of points and really carrying Detroit offensively through the first 4 games of the season. We currently have a 3-1-0 record, second in the Metro, and 7th overall in the NHL. Now, obviously, I'm still pretty skeptical, and I'm definitely not sold on Detroit just yet. I think we could cool down very quickly and, get back to the basement of the league. But if we win tonight against the Toronto Maple Leafs, that would definitely go a long way in getting my confidence up for this Detroit team, because Toronto is very good, a very stacked team, and they are a divisional rival, so I think that would be a huge win for us. Obviously, it's going to be difficult, but I think, if we play like we have over the first 4 games of the year, I definitely think it's possible. Our last game was a 4-2 win against a divisional opponent in the Montreal Canadiens. That was a very good road win for us in Montreal's home opener. We're currently led by Anthony Mantha with 4 games played, 6 goals and 2 assists for 8 points. He has been an absolute monster to start the season, and he is really looking like a guy who could potentially score 35 to 40 goals this season, and obviously he's always had the skill and the offensive attributes to do that. It was just a matter of keeping his feet moving and putting it all together, and I think this year is definitely the year that Mantha could have a massive breakout season. And then you have Tyler Bertuzzi, 4 games played, 3 goals and 3 assists for 6 points, and then not showed on the screen, I believe Dylan Larkin has a goal and 5 assists for 6 points as well. So to start the year, that is 20 combined points from the first line, and that is definitely a very good sign. They're obviously not going to keep that up for the whole season, but me as a Red Wings fan, and considering the awful start that we got off to last year, I'm definitely going to enjoy this while it lasts. And in goal, I have Jonathan Bernier here because he has definitely impressed me a lot more than Jimmy Howard has. Bernier in 2 games has a perfect 2-0 record, a 2.50 goals against, and a 912 save percentage. And Jonathan Bernier definitely has been in the easier games, I will say, than Jimmy Howard. Jimmy Howard's loss came against the Anaheim Ducks, and Anaheim is definitely a team that has been surprising a lot of people so far as well. But I'm not going to throw Jimmy Howard under the bus. I think he's been solid as well. And I think Howard is getting the start against the Leafs tonight, so this is definitely a big game for him. But overall, Detroit definitely off to a fantastic start to the year, and definitely so far they've been better than a lot of people thought they were going to be. Moving on now to another team in the Atlantic that has been very surprising, and that is the Buffalo Sabres. And for me, I just want to know if it's different than last season, because everybody remembers, especially Sabres fans, I'm sure, that Buffalo got off to a very, very good start last season, and then obviously bottomed out in a big way and just became a lottery team. But they're currently 4-0-1, first in the Atlantic Division, and third overall in the entire NHL. Their last game was a 3-2 win, a shootout win against the Florida Panthers. That was definitely a big win for them against a divisional opponent who was supposed to be very, very good coming into the year. They're currently led by Rasmus Dahlin and Jack Eichel, who both have 7 points apiece. If Rasmus Dahlin keeps this play up for the season, and I know he's obviously not going to be over a point per game, but if he has like a 55 to 60 point year and this Buffalo team makes the playoffs, I 100% think Rasmus Dahlin is going to get a lot of recognition for the Norris Trophy. And in your sophomore year, that is definitely some high praise. And in goal, I have Linus Ullmark. He has a 1-0-1 record, a 2.86 goals against, and a 931 save percentage. Now, I know Carter Hutton is the goaltender that is 3-0 for this team, but in those 3 games, I definitely think Carter Hutton got a lot more support from Buffalo than Linus Ullmark got in his 2 starts. So far early in the season, I think Linus Ullmark has been a little bit more impressive, in my opinion, than Carter Hutton has. And I'm not throwing Carter Hutton under the bus. He's definitely been good enough for this Buffalo team to win games. But Ullmark being the younger goaltender and probably the goaltender for the future here, I definitely think it would be smart if Buffalo can start giving him as many starts as possible, especially if this Buffalo team continues to win games. So it's early on in the season, I know, but they're definitely off to a fantastic start, and hopefully this year they can be a lot more consistent. Moving over now to the Pacific Division, we have the Anaheim Ducks, and I kind of just want to know if they're for real, and how long can they keep winning without scoring many goals, because their defense and goaltending have been unbelievable to start the year. They have a 4-1 record, second in the Pacific Division, and 4th overall in the NHL. Their last game was a 2-1 win last night against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Their leading scorer offensively is Ondrej Kase with a goal and 3 assists, tied with Hampus Lindholm, who has 4 assists in 5 games. So obviously, as you can see, for a team with a really good record early on, not too many players putting up big numbers like you might see with some of the other teams that we've talked about. But the real MVP for this team is John Gibson. 4 games played, 3-1 record, a 1.26 goals against, and a 961 save percentage. I just tweeted it out before making this video. If John Gibson drags this team into the playoffs, I see no reason why he shouldn't get a ton of recognition for the Hart Trophy as the league's MVP and 100% be a lock for the Vezina Trophy. I think I'm going to start a series where after the first month of the season, I'm going to be giving out monthly awards like the MVP of the first month, the Vezina, the Norris, and stuff like that. So let me know if that's something you guys would want to see. But early on, my Vezina Trophy is hands down going to John Gibson if he continues to play like this. And if he does, and seeing how open this Pacific Division is, I don't see any reason why this Anaheim Ducks team can't squeak into the playoffs, especially if guys like Raquel and Getzlaf get going offensively. Staying with the theme of the Pacific Division, we have the Edmonton Oilers, who just won again today against the New York Rangers and have now improved their record to a perfect 5-0. Them and Carolina are tied for first overall in the entire NHL, and the Edmonton Oilers are currently sitting first in the Pacific. Like I said, their last game, a 4-1 win against the New York team, and against a good New York Rangers team at that. They are led by McDavid, obviously, with 12 points in 5 games, and then his wingman, Leon Draisaitl, with 11 points in 5 games. Those 2 players are just amazing and probably the best 2-headed monster in the entire NHL at this point in time, in my opinion at least. And in goal, Mike Smith has a perfect 3-0 record, a 2.67 goals against, and a 907 save percentage. And it's not like Mike Smith has been fantastic in his starts with the Edmonton Oilers so far, but he definitely has been good enough and put this team in a position to win games, and he definitely has been getting the goal support as well. So that is a really, really good early sign for the Edmonton Oilers team. And if this keeps up, they definitely could make the playoffs, and then I'm sure all that stuff and all the smoke about Connor McDavid hating it in Edmonton and wanting out because they can't win is probably going to be put to rest. But now, staying within the Edmonton organization and finishing out the video talking about James Neal. Neal, and you guys probably knew he was going to be in this video, but he is off to a blazing hot start to the year. As you can see, I have his stats from his Calgary Flames stint last year: 63 games played, 7 goals, and 12 assists for 19 points. An abysmal year for James Neal. He was scratched throughout the season, scratched throughout the playoffs, and definitely a year to forget for him. And then the trade happened, straight up Milan Lucic for James Neal, and I definitely think you can say the early winners of this trade are the Edmonton Oilers. And at the time of the trade, I'm pretty sure a lot of people knew James Neal was probably going to work out pretty well in Edmonton, but I didn't really think he was going to work out this well. He has 7 goals in the first 5 games of the season. He is currently leading the league in goals. Could you imagine if he comes over to Edmonton and wins the Rocket Richard Trophy? Obviously, probably not going to happen, and he's probably going to cool down, but I definitely think a 30-goal season could be in the cards for James Neal, and to me, he's been very surprising to start the year. So that is going to wrap up today's video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure to let me know down in the comment section what team or player have you most been surprised with to start the 2019-2020 NHL season. And with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I will see you guys all in the next video.